Hey everyone, hope you are doing well. In this video, I kind of want to do a sort of introduction to being a data analyst, or I guess I'm thinking, let's say you're not a data analyst or you want to be. I kind of want to give you some insight on how you can get there and the tools you might use. So this is going to be, I'm going to give you a few options and they're, either relatively cheap or kind of free. You're going to need a computer, obviously, but I'm going to explain, in my opinion, the foundational sort of skills or programs. There's just four of them, and they're going to be, slightly different versions depending on the company you work for. But I think it would be a really good grounding. And in terms of like qualifications and anything like that, I'll also explain that in the video. So it should just be a top level video. And if you want more detail, you can ask down below, or I can do a separate video on maybe a more detailed part of this video. So starting with sort of, I guess, qualifications and stuff, I do have a degree in maths, but I mean, it doesn't hurt to have that for sure, but I don't think you need it because so many people got hired in my first job and they had like psychology degrees. I know, some people say, oh, you use statistics a lot, but I'll be honest, like, I wouldn't hire someone who's educated in psychology to be a data analyst. So for me, like, if they're going to hire someone with, I'm pretty sure someone else had a marketing degree actually. So you don't like need a maths degree or qualifications. Like, there's people that want to sell these courses and they're like, oh, you can qualify to be a data analyst. It's like, I think they're kind of like fads, and I think they've become a bit more prevalent recently, and I just don't think you need it because everything I'm going to show you here, you can just teach yourself at home. And, let's say 6 months to a year, it depends how much time you're putting in each day. But if you really like put the effort in, you could build a really strong foundation. And I think like if you show you've got initiative and you've done your own projects at home, it can at least help you get the foot in the door a little bit. Yeah, I think this would be a really good skill set because I think, especially in today's age, there's no reason why you can't learn all this stuff at home. It's not like you need a law degree or, or you need qualifications to be a doctor. It's not the same. Like, you can really, learn a lot of this at home. And I think if you can do it yourself, you might as well. Like, you don't have to go through some sort of official whatever it is. So there's four things here, and like I said before, I won't go into crazy detail about setting them up and everything, but they're all relatively cheap or free. You're going to need a computer, obviously. I don't know if I mentioned that before. Yeah, so let's get into them. So the first, and I think the most useful and common tool as a data analyst, I don't know if people want to admit this or maybe I'm a bit old school, but I find Excel really useful. So if you don't know what Excel is, it's kind of like a big spreadsheet and it's part of the Windows package, but I'm pretty sure you can use Google Sheets. That's like online. I'm sure you could probably download the Google Sheets, but anyway, my point is there's like potentially free or other versions. Now, the Windows package, I don't know exactly how much it is. It might be like, what, £80 a year? But if you've got a Windows computer, you probably have bought the package anyway. So I find Excel really useful. And if I were to like start learning at home, I would get sort of, practice data sets. And you want to look at things like Excel is great for like summarizing, cleaning, even kind of connecting data in a way. Like, you could do a VLOOKUP and, pull in the corresponding column from another page. Like, it really is useful. So I would say, get onto Excel. Maybe there's I don't really know actually. I could always kind of make one. I don't know if it's out there, but I'm sure there's like practice questions and stuff for data analysts. And I would just recommend get some practice data generated, and you can look for trends, you can look for insights. So, filter the data, see if there's any odd looking things in certain columns that shouldn't be there. You can pivot it as well. That's that's really useful. So you can summarize, what customers are buying the most, what customers are buying the least, and you can create a lot of tables. Now you can do kind of visuals, but I would do the visuals in something else, which I'll cover in a minute. But you can do a lot in Excel, and I would recommend learning pivot tables, some formulas like VLOOKUPs, and yeah, just get yourself familiarized with Excel, especially if you've never used it. Just start with the basics, start playing around with some data, and try to see if you can spot any trends. So that's, I guess, a foundational kind of basic skill you should use or can use as a data analyst. Next up is SQL. So, I mean, it is, I guess, a programming language, but I don't really want to call it that. But you can download different SQL programs at home. There's slightly different types of SQL, but they all kind of have the same sort of gist, and you basically use it to connect tables together. So this is from my experience, and might be different for other people, but let's say we've got different tables. Let's say we've got people buying what people are buying, and you got a unique identifier, but it won't have all their contact details maybe. So you have another table with all their contact details, and it basically connects and filters the data. So for me, at least, I would use it to, just exclude certain parts of data or connect a couple different tables, and then I would export it and do a bit more, manipulation in Excel. Or yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I've used it for, and the companies I've worked for, that's kind of what they use it for, just pulling out the kind of raw data, making sure it's connected properly. There was like a SaaS enterprise guide thing, which I think did quite a similar thing as well. But yeah, SQL is good. You can use it to connect different tables and kind of get the data you need. I would recommend, there's free YouTube videos. You can learn it at home. Practice. I use DataCamp. I got a promotional offer. It's like 100 and something pounds a year. And I found that really useful because it actually teaches you in little exercises like what to do, and it will give you feedback. It will tell you with AI where you've gone wrong in your code, and that's really useful. So I would highly recommend them. Not sponsored by anything or anything like that, but yeah, SQL is definitely going to be a good skill to use. Next up we have, and I've actually quite enjoyed using this. I didn't really respect it to begin with, but it's Power BI. So what you can do is you can select different data sources. So you can be like, oh, I want this table, I want this table from here, or maybe you want a public data source. And in Power BI, you can connect, so kind of like SQL, I guess, you can kind of connect all these data sources together. And for Power BI, you're basically creating visuals. So you will create tables and visuals, and they're interactive, and people can filter, and you can share it kind of, I guess you describe it as on the cloud, but you basically upload it. That's the paid part, but you can download it and use it offline for free. You only really need to pay if you're going to share it. So if you want to get the desktop version, that's free. And yeah, you can build visuals. You can build like some really cool stuff, and it can do filtering for you. It can, you can kind of use some of those Excel formulas, and you can like have it so when the data comes in, you make these calculated columns, and it's really useful. And I would say that's great for visuals. So I suppose with SQL, it might be a bit harder to practice at home. So I'll try to follow some online tutorials, but with Power BI, you download a data set and you can just create some visuals. So yeah, I mean, I think it's the easiest of these to learn, and it's fun. You can be more advanced with it, but yeah. So you basically want Excel for kind of manipulating data day to day. SQL is good for trying to get the data out, really. And then Power BI is a visualization tool. So I think Tableau is quite equivalent. And yeah, you can use Tableau. Is Looker one? I don't know. I think there's some others as well. Quick or whatever. There's others as well, but yeah, I would just recommend using Power BI. It's free. You can get the free version, just use it at home, or you can use another one if you have a preference. But visualization is good because people like visuals. And last but not least, so Python. So this is a programming language, and you can like do so much with Python. Like, and I'm not like an expert on it, so someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but you can get it to like automate tasks for you. You can kind of use it with, I believe you can use it to make AI or machine learning, or at least it's a component of it. You might need to use other parts. It has number packages, so it can help you analyze numbers and data. Um, and to be honest, some of the higher level paying jobs in the UK, they do want you to have Python as well. So I think it's a really good add-on, and I like it because I've just kind of been teaching myself on data camp. I've done like I don't know, maybe a couple hundred hours or whatever, like of just the data analyst part, because they have specific modules on data camp, and I'm not promoting, I'm not selling it, like but they have uh ones for Python and SQL, and yeah, I really, really recommend, because I bought so many, I paid for stuff with Python and it didn't even let you code. So you gotta really code and practice it. There's YouTube stuff you can practice, but in the context of data analysis, you can do, run some statistical programs, you can find trends, you can do a lot more advanced stuff. Now I haven't really used it for that. I kind of taught myself some of that the developer stuff. So like I want to build stuff. Um, but it's really useful, and you'll probably be, by the time you've got these three down, and then if you're starting to look at Python, you're going to be a lot more advanced stage. But I would say, look at some tutorials for data analysis for Python. I'm not an expert by any means, so definitely seek out those experts. But I think it's also good to learn a programming language, because then you will be better at other programming languages. And if you ever want to kind of move away from just being a data analyst and you can program, I think that is a really cool option. And I know everyone's worried about AI and like vibe coding, but I don't know if that's true. I think they're still gonna have some benefit to knowing how to code, and I just, yeah, I don't know if that's true. I think there's a bit of fear mongering, but anyway, hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully it was clear. Again, if you want me to try and go into anything in more detail, I will, try and get back to you in the comments. You can leave a comment there, or maybe I'll refer you to someone else, or I'm not like an expert in all of these, but this is kind of a rough guide. But yeah, hopefully it makes sense, hopefully it was clear, and yeah, best of luck, I guess, getting a job if you're interested in that, or looking at becoming a data analyst. Hope it helped, and again, yeah, let me know if you have any comments or questions, and I'll try and get back to you there.